An all-around team effort and another record performance from John Wall set the tone for an emotional bounce-back victory against Charlotte. Detroit motors into the district with a foot on the gas, winning 5 of their last 7 on the road. Bigs are at the center of attention. Wiz hosts the Pistons on CSN next. Holiday hustle and bustle to start the weekend down at Verizon Center. Cold night, but some hot deals across the street at the shopping bazaar. And inside at the arena, CSN brings you Wizards basketball. Tonight, the Wiz look for their 4th win in the last 5 games as they meet Andre Drummond and the 14-13 Detroit Pistons. Hi, folks. Great to have you with us tonight for Wizards Hoops. Steve Buckhantz, Phil Chenier, Chris Miller. As always, we are most definitely Sager strong here tonight, thinking about our pal Craig, who did so much for this game and humanity as well. Wizards with big victories over Milwaukee and Denver and Charlotte. Bradley Beal played well against the Hornets. A tale of 2 halves for him.
Well, in this league, I'll tell you what, you have to know how to overcome adversity. And that's just what he did. The first half, couldn't buy a basket, 0 for 6, only 2 points. He did, however, dish out 5 assists on his way to a career-high 9. So he made himself a valuable commodity in that first half. But in the second, he started to turn it on as Bradley Beal can. Made his first 3 threes on his way to 18 points in that second half, a total of 20 for the game. The 4 assists added on, give him a career high of 9 assists. But that's what you have to do in this league. You have to know how to bounce back from adversity.
Well, the Pistons have been up and down. Big wins over Oklahoma City and the Clippers, but a slip up at home against the 76ers. When you play a Stan Van Gundy team, you better bring your defense.
This team is starting to take on some of the characteristics of its old championship squad, and that's defense. You can see number 2 in points allowed. First and second chance points, they're always a top rebounding team, and they protect the ball better than anybody else. Leading the way, Andre Drummond, the big guy inside this summer, signed a lucrative contract. He's going to be a Piston for a while. Leads this team in rebounding. He has 3 20-20 games. In fact, you look at what he's done over his career, it's amazing. He's a force inside. Washington's done a pretty good job against him over the last 2 years.
Get your scorecard out. Markieff and Marcus, or is it Marcus and Markieff? The Twins are on display tonight as the Wizards host the Pistons coming up on CSN. The 109-106 win over Charlotte Wednesday. Wall and Beal with Porter, Morris and Gortat. Detroit, meantime, is 14-13. They're 6-9 on the road. They won at Dallas the other night, 95-85 on Wednesday. Reggie Jackson with Cantavius Caldwell-Pope, Tobias Harris, Marcus Morris, and Andre Drummond. Well, you can see the guys wearing the Sager Strong shirts. Phil and I have ours on as well. And prior to tonight's game, a moment of silence for Craig Sager, who is a longtime sportscaster, one of the best interviewers that we've ever seen. Did so much for the NBA and for people in general. And we share our thoughts and prayers and memories with him and his fans and his family down in Atlanta. Got to know Craig when I worked in Atlanta, Phil, in 1981 at WSB-TV. He was with Turner way back in the day. And it was a very tight-knit group of sportscasters down there at the time. So we became good friends and just always a terrific guy, whether he's broadcasting on the court or just talking to you as a friend. So we've got our Sager Strong outfit on tonight as well. We're thinking about you, my friend.
Yeah, and it certainly came across over the air. You watched him and you felt the enthusiasm that he has and the love for the game.
Underway in Washington, the Wizards and the Pistons in the first of 3. I mentioned last year they played 4. Wiz got all 3, I should say 3 of 4. They won the first 3 times they played, and then they dropped the season finale 112-99 at the Palace on April 8th. Well, first shot of the game is a three-pointer for Detroit, and they're up 3-0. Steve Buckhantz, Phil Chenier, Chris Miller, and our CSN crew. Washington looking for its 4th win in the last 5 games. Otto Porter cuts it to 1. Wizards, excuse me, Phil, have beaten the Pistons 4 straight times here at Verizon Center. The last time they lost to this team here was January 18, 2014, 104-98. Those are the kind of rebounds you have to get.
It's one thing if he works for him, but that one where you have good position and allow him to get that second possession. Don't want to give up many of those.
You got your scorecard out to keep track of the Morris twins. You're going to need it.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting matching up to start with. They weren't guarding each other, so I wonder if that's by design. Just happened that way.
Out of bounds, it'll be Wizards ball. Good hustle on defense. Defense is something that they've picked up, Phil, the last couple of games. And for Washington, that's helped them get those victories.
They're going to have to pick it up a little bit more with this team. #1 in points allowed, or I should say #2 in points allowed, fewest points allowed.
And we talked all week prior to this game about Drummond and Gortat as Bradley Beal knocks down the jumper. That's good to see because he was 0 for 6 in the first half against Charlotte. Then he came on strong.
Absolutely. And his first couple of shots were much like that last one, a shot where he worked himself to an open position and just didn't get the open shot. Didn't make it.
Morris pulls up for the shot and rims it out. The Wizards are all over it. We talked about Drummond and Gortat and how Washington's had a little bit of the upper hand in that battle.
Yeah.
Marching on the baseline, couldn't quite get it to go.
Both these guys can get up and down the floor very well, so transition is a part of their game as well. But Drummond, one of the premier rebounders in this game, but Washington's done a good job of minimizing his effect on the boards.
One of the things that Gortat clearly will have to be careful of is matching the physicality and picking up early fouls. You got to stay in the game.
Yep, that's a true point there.
Wall takes another jumper. Pistons up by 1 early. Detroit coming off a win at Dallas, 95-85 on Wednesday. Of course, the Wizards beat Charlotte here the other night. Great pass.
Yes, sir.
He's got an excellent field of view, Markieff Morris.
He's got a full game, no question about it. He has that smooth jumper from the outside. He loves the physical play, and then you can just see him seeing the court well enough to make delivered passes.
Great steal. Beal couldn't quite get it, but almost there. Of course, he came off a career-high 9 assists the other night against
Made
Charlotte.
himself a very valuable player when he didn't have it going. Then he got it going. There's that last assist from Markieff. And Gortat, that's one of the things he might do a little better than Drummond is move without the ball. He's got himself open, but another jumper given away to Harris.
And a good player, Tobias Harris, who came to this team from Orlando last year in a trade in February for Ilyasova and Jennings. And Tobias Harris averaging over 16 points a game. Wall nearly stepped on the line. Now he has to reset for Morris, guarded by Jackson. Wizards very fortunate to get that too.
I'll tell you, Kentavious Pope right there nearly got that pickoff, but it was a good hustle play by that man there, Otto Porter, that saved the possession and got the 2.
Harris left alone, and that one he missed. Excellent shooter.
He was a good pickup free agent last year, 2 years ago, I should say, from Orlando. Another jumper by Beal.
And the Wiz go up by 3, 7.5 to play in quarter number 1. Washington will have one more home game in this 3-game stand. They'll play the Clippers here Sunday at 3:30. Here's Harris from Morris. And it's somebody tipped it away, and the Wizards go 3-on-1.
Yeah, I think Marcus was saying that somebody grabbed his arm or got a piece of him that forced that errant pass. It led to a 3-on-1 break and Washington converting.
By the way, your refs tonight, Monty McCutcheon, Mark Ayotte, and Aaron Smith, the rookie. Wizards on a 6-0 run here. And a foul will be called on Beal. We'll take a look at our Toyota Start Track, so we'll keep a close watch on terrific matchup,
Yeah.
Jackson and Wall.
Should be a good one. Jackson missed the first 21 games with an injury, but over the last 6 or 7, he started to find his way. In fact, had his best game in Dallas, 20-point game, led the team there.
Correction on that last foul. They called it on Morris. Score that field goal. And Cantavius Caldwell-Pope will go to the line for 1. That one was on Beal.
Now you don't want to find yourself reaching. You see he gets out of position and then makes the cardinal sin there, reaching for the ball. Pope able to drop the shot.
Misses the free throw. Wizards by 3. Here's Wall. He's pushing off a little bit. Screen set. Now they fire it out to Morris. He's cut off and turns it over. That'll be another foul on Markieff Morris, and that'll be his second.
Let's keep an eye on this. Remember the game 2 nights ago against the Hornets. Washington had 15 steals. John with 7 of them. And a number of them with the reaching kind. He was able to get a piece, but that one he reached for the ball. Jackson able to keep it away from him, and that creates numbers once he gets by him. So John's going to have to use some good decision-making skills to decide when he does that and have some discipline not to do it a lot.
Jackson misses the first. We take a look at our keys to this game, Phil, presented by your Washington area GMC dealers.
Well, this defensive-minded Pistons team starting to take on the likeness of some of those former championship teams. Number 2 in points allowed, and they've held 19 opponents under 100. Of course, that's a big part of Stan Van Gundy's team in Washington. Let's go back to those steals again. The 15 steals. Let's not make that a habit of constantly reaching and constantly going for steals and getting yourself out of position.
Porter on the baseline. Just couldn't knock it down. Had a good look. Here's Harris. Kelly Oubre Jr. into the fray for Washington, and an offensive foul.
He got him.
Called on Detroit. Called it on Drummond.
Yeah, and you notice this is a play we talk about all the time. He pushes that guard, Bradley Beal. So Bradley Beal is totally out of the play. Watch right here. He's trying to go. Now he pushes him out. Now it's a 2-on-1. Bradley's out of the play. Good pickup by the official. Like to see more of those called.
Wall pulls up. John Wall 0 for 3. And the Wizards get another try. 5:40 to go first quarter. Wall down the lane. Great pass for Porter.
You notice how quickly Porter got that ball to the glass. Somebody, I think it was Reggie Jackson, was going after the block.
Otto Porter has 6 points. Stan Van Gundy in his 3rd year wants a timeout. And Chris Miller from CSN. When we come back, we'll talk more about our friend Craig Sager.
Many of us sideline reporters are wearing the Sager Strong t-shirt, but on December 20th and the 21st, we're all going to wear as close to a Craig Sager style suit to pay tribute to a man that has meant so much to the league. We send our condolences to his family. Buck and Phil.
Yeah, well put, Chris.
John Lure in the game for Detroit, has played well for them. Ish Smith, very familiar guy to the folks in our area. Of course, the Wizards had him for a while and went to Philadelphia. As Wall drives, puts it up, and can't finish. John Wall 0 for 4.
Got to use that glass if you can when you're on the dead run like that.
Quickly on the outlet pass, here's Wall. Beal against Lure. What a move by Beal. Steps back and just rims it out. Oubre Jr. still in the game for Washington. Lure on a turnaround, good. John Lure in his 6th year from Wisconsin, his 1st year with the Pistons, signing as a free agent in July. Played the last year in Phoenix. Of course, he was back in Milwaukee, their 40th pick back in 2011. Wall on the pass, he's fouled. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Lite's Miller Time later in tonight's game.
That foul by Detroit, only their first foul. This is a team that doesn't commit many, doesn't allow their opponents to get to the line very often either.
And Phil Drummond just picked up his 2nd personal. So he comes out of the game. And Aaron Baines.
Well, that's right. He had that was the first team foul. The other one was an offensive foul.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Trey Burke in for Washington. Beal for Oubre. Kelly drives and is fouled by Baines as he goes strong to the glass.
I tell you what, he's not afraid of challenging anybody. Baines a big guy in the middle there. He's a kind of an imposing figure, you might say. Oh, he catches him across the arm. He gets a little bit of the ball, but also the arm there. Kelly making a very strong move to the basket.
Knocks down the first. Had a nice game the other night against Charlotte with 15 points. Of course, he got the start for Markieff Morris, and Kelly went 7 of 12 from the field. He hit a 3-ball, had 6 rebounds and a couple of steals.
And Buck, with this smaller lineup, they've really got to try and pressure the ball, make them uncomfortable, not allow them to get into their half-court sets, and not allow them to utilize some post-up action using that size. Somebody's open, careful.
And Detroit turns the ball over, which is rare because they only average 11 a game. They're #1 in the league. They've committed 4 here in the quarter.
Well, we talked about this before, but coming in here 2 days ago, it was the Hornets that were #1. But,
until they played the Wizards.
That's right.
Then they dropped a spot or 2.
Yeah, #3 right now.
Trey Burke, short on a 3. How about that?
Boy, Ish Smith, a beautiful floater, having to float past the basket.
Beal couldn't handle that pass from Wall, and they have to try it over. Now he steps back for 3. Caldwell Pope off the glass, and Detroit has regained the lead by 1. And Brooks will take a timeout. Wizards have not been able to knock down shots here the last couple of minutes, and they have given up their lead. Cantavius Caldwell Pope in his 4th year from Georgia. Very athletic player. Nice shot off the glass for 2.
I thought it would be appropriate today on Twitter, Jay, if we asked the question, what's your favorite Craig Sager moment on TV? Obviously, everyone talks about the flair that he had with his suits, but what about you?
I mean, I don't think you can say it's one moment. I just loved his interviews in between quarters with Greg Popovich. I don't think there's anything better than that. And his ability to just ad-lib off of that and still, ask a tough question, but do it in a way with a sense of humor that it was so likable at the same time. You could tell that even if you tried to dislike Craig Sager, you really couldn't.
You know, Buck and Phil, I remember the Thunder-Lakers series where Craig's is doing a bit at Buck's old favorite hotel in Oklahoma City that has the alleged ghosts in there. And I remember Siggs doing a bit, and it was just so funny to see him wake up out of a dream and him walking around the hotel with these god-awful shorts. And it just matched just kind of just the flair that he had. Listen, no one can walk around with a suit like Siggs, but he was so much more than that. Like, we would look at the suits and be like, wow, that's wild. But then you listen to him and how he conducted interviews. And Jay talked about, obviously, with Popovich, how, you know, obviously Pop didn't want to do it, but there was mutual respect there. He just got the most out of his interviews. And for that, that's something that I'll always remember.
You know, Buck, one of the things I remember about Sagers is something that you pointed out to me, and that was Hank Aaron's home run
record-breaking home run.
And he was out there on the field congratulating. And I mean, I guess you're not supposed to do that, but well, again, it says something about the passion.
Back in that day, you could, and I say you could. I mean, it could happen. It would never happen today, but he was working for Turner at the time and covering that record-breaking home run by Hank Aaron. And if you watch the video at the end of the home run as Aaron comes between third and home, there's a guy in a trench coat there, and that's Sager, who's out on the field, out there to congratulate him. Very few people know that. And a lot of times when you see that highlight, you don't see it all the way to the end of the home plate.
Well, like I said, you were the one that pointed that out to me, and every time I see a recording of that, I look to see that. And again, the smile on Sager's face, I mean, he was right there actually sharing the joy for Aaron breaking that record.
And I agree with Chris Miller. His interviews were just so spot on. They weren't just pat questions and, you know, how do you feel after the first half. I mean, they had some thought to them. They had some meaning. They made you answer the question with some thought yourself if you're the athlete or the coach. And that's what I admired most about the way he did his interviews. And then as a person, you know, we discussed this before the game, but just such a nice guy. He always was gracious to us, helped us get a tee time once at his golf course in Atlanta at Ansley Park, and got to play down there on his dime, and he's just a good guy.
Washington's got to get their offense going. Only 8 of 20 right now from the field.
And John Wall's 0 for 5. Tough shot. Stanley Johnson's in the game for Detroit. Here's Burke again. This time Wall will try a 3, and he's got it. His first field goal in 6 attempts is a good one, a long one.
Good setup by Trey Burke there. We haven't seen Trey and John in the backcourt very often together.
Wizards regain the lead by 1. Lure, Baines. Drummond has 2 fouls.
Very close to travel.
Morris down low, missed it, tip up and in.
Well, with that small lineup up, you got to try and avoid those kind of putbacks.
Wall challenging, bumped, puts it up, missed it, but he'll get 2 shots. And Baines looks around and says he jumped into me, but Baines was a little bit out of position.
Well, he's in the restricted area too.
Baines picks up his 3rd, so Baines and Drummond, the guys who are in foul trouble, as we check our Chasen Boscolo injury lawyers report. Reggie Bullock out with a knee, Mahinmi still out with his sore knee, and Daniel House the fractured wrist.
Kind of interesting now, Stan Van Gundy forced to kind of match up with Washington, a little bit of a smaller lineup for them.
And getting set to come into the game for the first time in 6 games is Thomas Satoransky. Has not played in the last 5. The last time he played was December 5th at Brooklyn. Wiz by 1. 5-second difference between the clocks. What a move.
There's that reach again.
Rebound by Harris. Score the field goal, and he's fouled.
Like I said, some nights you get away with that reaching and it works in your favor, but other times it really puts you at a disadvantage. There Kelly is reaching, and Ish Smith's able to get by him. Plus you have a rebounding lane provided to Harris, and he gets the putback with the contact.
That lane was provided because Gortat had to come over to help out, and it left it wide open.
Right.
So they pick up 3 and take the lead by 2. Wall, plenty of time for him, goes coast to coast and slams it in.
Doesn't take long, does it?
No, it doesn't. Blink of an eye, John Wall. Harris launches, and that is the end of the first quarter. But John Wall gets this crowd up off its seat and onto its feet. as he slams one down. 9 points in the quarter for Wall. 2 of 7 shooting, but he made all 4 of his free throws and had 3 assists. Caldwell Pope had a big first quarter for his squad. And after one in Washington, the Pistons and the Wizards in the first of 3 meetings are knotted up at 27.
But then started getting it going. There you see the assist there to Otto Porter. John knocking down one of the team's 2 threes. And this fast break took about 3 seconds. John, all 9 of the team's last 9 points. Perfect from the line.
Check our Chevy stats from quarter number 1. Pistons shot 50%. They went just 1 of 7 from three-point range. The Wizards went 2 of 6.
Yeah, these 2 teams, 2 of the 3 teams that have not made 200 threes yet. Chicago Bulls, the other team. So three-point shooting is going to be very important between these 2 teams.
Wizards were out-rebounded by 5 in that first quarter, 15-10. So Satoransky gets his first action since Brooklyn on December 5th. Burke and Oubre stay in with Thornton and Jason Smith. Boy, he's held. And Trey Burke should get 2 shots out of this.
Yeah, to yank his arm away from Reggie Jackson.
Number 1 on Jackson. Here's another look.
Let's see if we can pick up the hole. Right there. Held that right arm, and Trey still trying to finish with the left. Good idea there.
This is the only game played in D.C. between these teams. They'll play twice more at the Palace, January 21st and April 10th. April 10th game, second to the last regular season game of the season, and Burke makes 1 of 2. Johnson looking. Shot clock at 3. Jackson takes a long shot and misses, and it's going to go out of bounds.
That's what you have to do. You have to apply good pressure. If you're a small unit out there, you have to utilize the quickness.
Pistons now 1 of 8 from three-point range, and a foul called. Hey fans, it's your last chance to purchase a Wizards holiday pack. Your choice of any 3 games, a $10 concession credit per ticket, exclusive Wizards holiday ornament. Packs start at just $57. Call or text 202-661-5050. Thornton on a fadeaway, too strong, but it went in.
I like your change of pace there. Too strong, but it went in. Sometimes better being lucky.
That's what you call a hometown bounce.
Yes.
Whistle. Oubre will be called for a foul. Pistons won at Dallas this past Wednesday. They bounced back after a loss to the Sixers at home last Sunday, 97-79. Overall, they've won 6 of their last 10. And in that Dallas game, they came back from 12 points down in the third quarter. They trailed 64-52, but then went on a 27-5 run in a 10-minute span to lead 79-69 with 5 minutes to play in that game. And they won it by 10. And they out-rebounded Dallas in that game, Phil, 50-30. Yeah. Kelly Oubre draws a foul on Lure, and Kelly will shoot 2.
Dallas, speaking of them, really off to a tough start.
Nowitzki's been out so many games with the, I guess it's tendonitis, but.
How about this move by Kelly there? It sees the arm by Lure up. He goes right up underneath it, forces the contact, and forces the whistle.
He lured him into a foul. Kelly Oubre Jr. knocks down the first. Boy, don't you love the way he's been playing lately?
I mean, Scotty Brooks is forced to look for ways to get him in the lineup, and I'd say over what the last in the month of December, he's probably leads this team or one of the top 2 in minutes in the fourth quarter. Shows you how much faith and trust that Scott Brooks is starting to feel about Kelly.
Didn't take long, just his second season, and obviously Scott's first as a coach, and the foul will be called on Trey Burke. There's Reggie Jackson, who is playing in just his 7th game. He had a season high in that Dallas game of 20. He had 9 in the 4th quarter, but as Phil said, he had missed the first 21 games recovering from left knee tendonitis. John Lure also had a season high in that Dallas game, 19 points. He was 8 of 9 from the field.
Yeah, he's been a big plus off the Pistons bench.
Ooh, Harris had him for a minute, and I thought Harris traveled. But he hits the shot inside. He's a good player, Tobias Harris, in his 6th year from UT, Tennessee. He's got 10 points.
Gotta admit, though, I expected his numbers to be a little bit more significant since coming here with this team. He was one of the top free agents 2 years ago.
Well, Jason Smith's starting to really feel confident about that jump shot.
Yeah, and a lot of times that's the only difference, is just the confidence. But I've said earlier about him, when he's open, he's very, very direct and very specific in what he wants to do in that mid-range shot.
Well, Burke got faked out a little bit by Reggie Jackson, and he's called for the foul, picks up his 2nd. See Stan Van Gundy, and this is 3rd year. He is also the president of basketball operations with this team. Remember when he took over for Mo Cheeks a couple of seasons ago, it was the first time he had not led his team to a postseason berth, but then he got him back in it last year. They were the 8th seed with a record of 44-38. Oubre Jr. hits Lure and is called for the foul. So that's number 2 on him. Amazingly, when Van Gundy was hired by Detroit, he had the 6th best regular season winning percentage in NBA history, with a minimum of 500 games, a 641 mark that trailed only Phil Jackson, Billy Cunningham, Casey Jones, Popovich, and Red Auerbach.
And you know who else is on that list among active players now with the winning
Active
percentage?
Coaches?
Yeah.
Who's that?
Scotty Brooks.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's what you don't want to see, that kind of lob. Drummond able to rise above everyone and throw it down. That's a really high percentage shot.
Yes, it is. That ties the game. Here's Smith again, and he got it. Jason Smith coming off a real nice game of 12 points on 5 of 9 shooting in that win over Charlotte, where he also had 7 rebounds. Jason Smith now in his 9th year from Colorado State at 30 years of age, knocking him down with a nice looking outside shot.
Have that kind of confidence and come out there and have an impact on the game, knock down his first 3 threes and finish with 18 points in the half, and Washington got their 10th win.
Well, you've always said, Phil, I mean, if you're a natural shooter and a pure shooter, you got to keep shooting, right? I mean,
absolutely,
you don't
yeah.
stop.
That's what you're out there to do, and you feel like the next one's going to go down.
Beal, speaking of pure shooters, on a runner this time, and what a beautiful shot.
Couldn't tell for sure, but it looked like he went off the right foot, which is really kind of awkward in terms of your balance and release. Have to see that again, but either way, it's a difficult shot on the run.
Marcus Thornton pulls down the rebound. Thornton drives, and he got fouled by Harris.
It's going to be on the shot.
And on Tobias Harris, that's his first personal.
Good hesitation move by Marcus. Kind of defense a little unsure. You can see Drummond not sure if Harris is going to get there in time, but he releases him too soon, and you see the contact made by Harris up underneath.
Marcus Thornton knocks that one down, had 5 points in the win over Charlotte. Played 13 minutes. He's averaging just about 7 points a game. And he gives Washington its largest lead of the half, 6 points. Jackson screened by Drummond. Jackson waits, slips inside and misses. And the rebound is up and in by Drummond. He just towers over everybody, and that strength pulls it away.
Yeah, that strength and then that power. He's a beast on the boards.
Satoransky, Beal, the open shot, beautifully done. Boy,
Sure was, yeah.
That is so sweet. Every time I see him, I think of the way you shot. And
Boy,
it just,
Jason Smith can't get down court.
he's holding the left leg.
His first team fifth penalty.
He's going to have to limp off of here.
I guess they had to commit a foul to stop play because he just couldn't go any further.
Yeah, and he's headed right to the locker room.
Yeah. Wizards are in the penalty, so Pistons be shooting 2. Oh, that's where Caldwell Pope coming off that pick, and that's where they made contact right there on that right knee.
First free throw is good. So Smith walking back with that athletic trainer Corey Bennett, and they'll check that thing out. Morris back in for Thornton. Wall back into the lineup as well. So Satoransky didn't get a whole lot of time.
It's good to see him back out there. I know it's frustrating your first year, all of a sudden going 4 or 5 games without hitting the floor.
2 free throws made by Drummond, one of the worst free throw shooters in the league. He is a 46% shooter.
Actually, is the worst among all active players.
Yep. Beal. Wall open for 3. Got it. It's his second of the game. And a good look from his backcourt mate.
Yeah, he had to get rid of it. He picked that ball up in the key.
Wizards by 7. Their largest. Caldwell Pope the miss. Oubre chases it down. Drummond's still trying to get that rebound from him. Wall attacks, draws contact, and John will go back to the line. He's been there 4 times already tonight.
That's what you love about John, and that ability to create something out of nothing. Just that speed, the crossover. Reggie Jackson, only his 8th game back, can't get into position in time, draws the contact.
First miss for John, who's 4 for 5. The NBA Cares season of giving aims to brighten the holidays for children, families, and those in need. The NBA family encourages fans to join with us to give, share, and inspire. Beginning November 21st, share how you are giving back by using hashtag NBA Cares. And Wizards had a family event recently. Chris Miller will have more on that coming up. Wall misses both free throws. And that'll be a holding foul on Washington, and it'll be on John Wall. Correction. It's on Keith Morris.
Keith was holding up Jackson because John had gambled there. John playing that lane, commits, and Jackson goes back door. Morris realized that John is beat, so he reaches out and grabs him. So for Morris, that's his 3rd personal.
And Reggie Jackson at the line. Scotty Brooks will get Otto Porter back into the lineup for Keith Morris with the 3 fouls. So one Morris comes in and another Morris goes out. Jackson with one more, the 24th pick by Oklahoma City in 2011 after playing 3 years at Boston College.
One thing working well for Washington is their time of possession. They've only committed 1 turnover so far in this game.
Kelly Oubre with a stop jumper that's a little bit short. Tobias Harris. Jackson. Quartet comes out to help and leaves Tobias Harris open, and he missed it. Oh, wow. How do you not call a foul there? Beal. Trying to use a Quartet screen. Porter for 3.
Boy, good look by Bradley Beal. He was looking to go one-on-one as he curled off that pick, but Detroit defended that well. So Beal dished it off to Porter. Beal picks up his 3rd assist.
And Van Gundy wants time as Washington has achieved its largest lead of the half, 8 points, 48-40. So good scoring for the Wizards. Wall with 12, Beal with 8, and Otto Porter 4 of 5 from the field with a couple of rebounds. He has 9 points, put his team up by 8. To be 63 degrees on Sunday for a little while anyway. That won't last long either. Otto Porter 9 points already.
Good shooting in this quarter by Washington.
Dump off underneath and a foul is called. In Otto's last 5 games, he's totaled 45 points. That's 9 per game. No more than 10 in any of the last 5 games, so he's got 9 already.
Stop and think about it. Those are the games that John Wall and Bradley Beal have been so dominant. But like you said, off to a good start. Only missed 1 of his 5 attempts. I mentioned before, Washington in this quarter, 7 of 8 from the field. They've been perfect from the 3-point line. They have missed 3 free throws. This against one of the top defensive teams in the league.
Tobias Harris with 12 points. He's 3 for 3 from the line. His team has missed 2 free throws. They're 8 of 10. Wizards by 6. That'll be a holding foul called on Reggie Jackson, and I believe that'll be his 2nd.
Reggie Jackson, that's his 3rd.
Correction, 3rd.
Bradley Beal the line, shooting 2.
See Reggie talking to Mark Ayotte, and that puts Beal at the line for 2. First free throws of the game for Bradley Beal.
Interesting. Brad 4 of 6 from the field. The only 2 shots he missed have been his 3s.
Got lucky on that one. Phil, I know we've talked about this ad nauseum. Do you think guys take free throw shooting as seriously as they should? And I'm not even talking about in the game. I'm talking about in practice.
I think there are times when they allow themselves to forget how important and impacting those free throws are because you have practice. I think a smart coach will start practice off at times shooting free throws as opposed to waiting till after practice and have everybody shoot free throws. Guys are fatigued, tired, careful, and all they're doing is they're going to shoot their 10 free throws or whatever they're prescribed to do. Ooh.
Wow, Gortat in a lot of traffic, no call. Tobias comes the other way and he misses the slam. It goes over the top and out of bounds. How about that?
That would have been a wise move just to use the glass. Did such a pretty job of handling it for a guy that size with the left hand, crossover left hand through traffic, but tries to dunk it. That's a tough move to make when you're on the dead run like that. And you can see his momentum moving so quickly he can't get the ball directly down. Use that glass, guys.
All right, Wizards with another opportunity to take a 10-point lead or more. This would be for the 10-point lead, but Porter's short. Slapped back by Gortat. Beal for the long shot. That's good. And the lead is 11.
Quick reaction by John Wall. As soon as it touched his hand, he swung it over to Brad.
4 assists for Wall. And the 500th three-pointer for Bradley Beal. Wizards managed to track it down. Wizards are 8 of 11 in the quarter, make it 9 of 12.
Gortat released just at the right time. John Wall was going to have to shoot a very awkward shot.
The lead is 13. Drummond. He, for some reason, got nudged by Gortat. I don't know why you would foul him like that, but he did.
Got far away from the basket, yeah.
And on Gortat, that's his
should be just
second personal.
Yeah.
Let's check in with Chris.
Well, guys, Jason Smith coming off of that really good game the other day. Had 5 good minutes here, 2 for 2, 5 points and a rebound. Listed as questionable to return with a strained right hamstring.
And that was when Jackson went by him and made contact, right? Well, that's too bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of interesting that it's the hamstring.
Yeah, thought it was the knee.
The way the contact was made.
Meantime, Andre Drummond is 3 for 3 at the free throw line. Again, a 46% shooter.
There you go. It's good, more like.
Averaging 14.5 points, almost 14 rebounds, second in the league in rebounding. Wall lost his dribble. Here's Porter. Otto attacks off the glass. It's short. Ish Smith the other way, left open. Now Harris drives. Oh, the follow slam is there. And Scott Brooks will take a timeout as the Pistons have cut the Wizards' 13-point lead to 10. Andre Drummond, a man and a beast, gets a follow slam for 2. CSN, along with his brother Kyle and their family, they do it up right every year. Look at that place. That is gorgeous.
Great to see the electric bill.
Absolutely. Good to see Kurt healthy and back in action and entertaining the neighbors. Now the Wizards still with only 1 turnover, Phil.
Yeah, great job on their part.
Wall attacks. They swing it. Oubre for 3. Just missed. And how about that by Otto Porter? And they'll call a loose ball foul on Washington. And Mark Ayotte is pointing it.
I think it was on Gortat. He was also in there.
No, they called it on Porter. Love to see this again.
He gets a running start. Oh, no, I don't see that.
Well, that's where they called the foul, if you want to call that a foul. And it sends Drummond to the free throw line. On Porter, that's his first. Yeah, that was,
love the hustle.
Absolutely,
yeah.
What a great hustle play.
I mean, he got a running start. No one was there to put a body on him, so he's going to get the advantage over somebody that's jumping flat-footed.
And that's what you have to do against this team and a guy like Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
You got to hustle after it and make plays. Wall into the paint and just missed it. Ish Smith looking down court. Terrific pass underneath. Boy, that was a great pass by Lure.
Yeah, I mean, you look at his numbers. I mean, from that forward position, coming off the bench, he's scoring well. He's the second best rebounder, and he's got a fair number of assists. How about that?
Bradley Beal answers and 1. Wiz by 11. 16 points for Beal. Cantavius Caldwell-Pope for Smith. Boy, they nearly threw it away. Caldwell-Pope knocks it down.
Well, what a save by Lure, because he was going out of bounds.
Beal again, stops for the jumper and hits. 18 for Beal.
Got it going. 7 of 9.
For Lure, challenged by Beal. Gortat slips in for the rebound. Wall quickly over the timeline. Drives for Porter. Otto, Gortat, Beal for 3. What a shot.
Oh. Now, when he came into the league, he didn't have any kind of moves like that. That shows you how well they've worked with him and how much he's developed.
Wall pumps in his third three of the half.
Washington, a combined 7 of 13 with the deep ball. John's a perfect 3 for 3.
Leading by 11. Drummond has 13. Caldwell Pope and a reach around foul called on Wall.
Wizards foul, number 2, John Wall, his first.
Take a look at our trivia question tonight. Bradley Beal, now the youngest player in team history with the 500 three-pointers made, which he got tonight. Who's the second youngest?
I think it might be Gilbert.
Second youngest, Chris Whitney.
Andrew, one only now.
Well, we'll see.
One only, Andrew.
Meantime, boy, we've seen this story before, Phil. Beal and Wall, 33 points between them.
Yeah, and shooting the ball combined 11 for 20. Boy, 5 of 8 from 3.
Caldwell Pope, who played 2 years at UGA. Averaging over 14 points a game. 2-second difference between the clocks. Wall will be content to use it all. 63 points so far put up by DC. Nicholson in the game. Wall drives, bumps, shoots, and he'll draw the foul and go to the line with 4 seconds on the clock.
Boy, he worked that to perfection there. You don't want to go too soon. And he got that pick, set up Ish Smith perfectly to run him off that pick. Now he has a clear lane going towards the basket. The bigs can't do anything with him.
Satoransky coming back in for Kelly Oubre Jr., who is 0 for 3 from the field. Kelly has 3 rebounds, 3 points, all from the line. March and Gortat did a little cheerleading on the sideline as Wall gets one more. Wizards have led by as many as 13 moments ago. Wall makes it 11. Smith quickly down court, gets Beal turned around. Now he launches and misses at the buzzer. Wizards with 38 points in the quarter. They had a 38-point quarter against Charlotte as well. And Washington tonight pumping in 65 first half points. A season high for a first half for the good guys. Led by Bradley Beal with 18 and John Wall with 17 and Otto Porter with 9. The Wizards have an 11-point lead at halftime as we check with Chris Miller.
All right, guys, thank you very much, Brad. First of all, congratulations. Fastest in franchise history to get 500 threes. You have 501. You told me after the last game, once you hit that first shot in the third quarter, the process of, okay, that first half never happened. How much does it feel like when you get going early is a byproduct of you having a great night?
It's a great feeling. You know, it gives you a good rhythm. It kind of forces me to be a little bit more aggressive. You know, if I'm knocking down shots, it's going to be able to take some heat checks here and there. It was a couple shots I probably should have pump fake, but just trying to get a quick one off just because I made a few. But just staying aggressive, and it's always great when I can get a flow early. But, you know, our biggest thing is that we're up now at half. We got to keep it up.
You guys have 65 points, 15 assists on 22 made field goals. How much is that just sharing the basketball, the reason why you're having success?
It's just everybody getting a touch, everybody getting a shot. You know, we're not a selfish team. We don't care who scores the most points, who shoots the ball. We trust everybody to make smart decisions, everybody to knock down shots. And the more we move the ball, the more difficult we are to guard. We just got to use all our threats.
Thanks, Brad. Appreciate it.
He made some smart decisions in that first half, only missed 3 shots in 10 attempts as the Wizards shot 54% from the field. We head back to the CSN studio for Halftime Live, presented by Nissan with Rob Carlin and Tony Massenberg. At the break in the first of 3 meetings between the Wizards and the Pistons, Washington leads by 11. Getting set to start the third quarter in Washington in the first of 3 meetings between these teams. The The Wizards lead the Detroit Pistons 65-54. Steve Buckhats, Phil Chenier, Chris Miller with us as well. We are sporting our Craig Sager Strong uniform here tonight in honor of our friend who passed away yesterday. 65 points, best in the first half for Washington this year. Beal and Wall combining for 35. That's the most by them in a first half this year.
Yeah, I mean, you combine their numbers, and that's what we're talking about, leading this team. Not just the scoring, but each of them has at least 3 assists. In fact, Brad has 3, John has 5. You like that, but the fact that really stands out, the stat that really stands out to me is no turnovers between the two of them, and that's terrific. Bradley, he's been shooting the ball well all game. The only shots he's missed has been 3 from 3-point range. He's 2 of 5 there. But Bradley Beal has really been aggressive and been a factor on the offensive side.
Time for tonight's Nashville Hot Shot Chart, brought to you by Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Well, there you have Bradley Beal. See all those shots inside, a perfect 5 for 5, but 2 of 5 from 3-point range. That's good also.
So we start the third quarter as Marcin Gortat connects off a nice pass from Markieff Morris. And the Wizards go up by 13, equaling their largest advantage of this game. Great to have you with us. Game 2 of this 3-game homestand. Wizards will play the Clippers here on Sunday afternoon. That's Marcus Morris who connects. First field goal of the game for Marcus. He's 1 for 6. Gortat with a pass. Little shove, no call. And Markieff misses. Keefe missing the last game with a sore foot. Jackson, Porter nearly got the steal. And let's check in with Chris Miller.
Well, guys, one of the more impressive numbers on this stat sheet for the Wizards in the first half was just 1 turnover. I asked assistant coach Chad Iskey about maximizing possessions. He said we did a great job of spacing the floor. We weren't standing on top of one another. We were able to space it out with our 3-point shooters. And I asked him about sharing the ball. 15 assists on 22 made field goals. He says John and Brad, that's a byproduct of them of really both taking turns scoring, but what they like to see in the second half is maybe a little more distribution of the points. But right now, so far, so good, guys. Yeah, and if you're wondering who committed the 1 turnover or how that resulted, it was Marcus. I was going to say Thornton. Marcus Morris that stole the ball from his brother Markieff.
Well, it won't be the first time one got the better of the other. Markieff was drafted 13th by Phoenix in 2011, played 4+ years with the Suns before coming to the Wiz. His twin brother Marcus was drafted right after him, 14th by Houston, after both played at Kansas. He also entered the world ahead of his brother, born 7 minutes earlier than Marcus.
I like that, entered the world.
Illegal defense was called, and a reach-in foul is called on Detroit. Reggie Jackson hit that last 3-pointer as the Wizards' 13-point lead was shaved down. Prior to the technical, Reggie Jackson in his first 4 years had 192 total made threes, 29%. Last year, 118 alone, 35%.
How about that? Marcin Gortat tips that in. I think that was over Drummond.
Caldwell Pope into the paint, chased by Beal. Shots a little strong, tipped up, no good. Wall has it looking down court. It's 1-on-3, so he goes to Beal, who fires and misses. Gortat trying to get the rebound. They'll give it to Washington. Good position.
Job. Yeah, good job battling Drummond. Don't want to have him get any easy rebounds, making work for everything at both ends.
Gortat and Drummond both have a couple of personals.
Ooh, long count.
Yes, it is. Wall stops for his jumper. Good. 19 points in the game for John Wall on 5 of 11 shooting.
Saw that coming.
Showtime as the wall went up and just let it bounce in. Wow. He's got a smile on his face. I don't know if he was trying to slam it or just let it dribble in, but it's 2 any way you count it. Washington has its largest lead of the game, 15 points here in the third quarter.
His job that he does, but just how he did it. He's had an impact with me and the coaching world and players, and even my kids when they were a lot younger, they used to always say, "Who's the crazy guy with the crazy suits?"
Scott Brooks pregame talking about Craig Sager and just his relationship with him over the years. As I bring in somebody that's very special to me, he's the Hall of Famer, David Aldridge from TNT. You've known Craig for such a long time. David, when I say Craig Sager, that's the first thing that comes to mind.
You know, I know people think it's going to be like the clothes, and it really isn't. I always said, Chris, if you just watched what he was wearing, you didn't get that he asked the right question. Always asked the right question. And I really came to respect him as a reporter, because when you work with somebody, you know if they're for real or not. And getting to work with Craig these last 12 years, I mean, he was remarkable in his understanding of what the story was, no matter where he was, no matter what 2 teams were playing. It's not always easy to find the story. And he always found out what the story was, and he got right to it and asked the question that I would have asked, that any other good reporter would have asked in that situation. And that was a true talent of his, and that meant he was doing his homework, and he was working extremely hard.
Listening to the guys last night on TNT, they loved him. They talked about family, and I think of his wife and his kids today because he's in a much better place today. He's not hurting today. That's my belief. Did you just talk about his fight? The last couple of years just to get to the finals last year.
Right. We did the conference finals last year, the Western finals last year. And Craig, this was Craig's routine. He would wake up in Houston. He would do, I don't know, an hour, 90 minutes of chemotherapy. Go to the airport and get on a plane, and he'd fly to Oklahoma City or he'd fly to Golden State and do the game that night. And that's what he did. While, you know, I'm complaining about room service or the gym or whatever, that was his day. And he did that over and over again because that's how much he wanted to be there. And it was the same during the finals, you know. And he inspired all of us because other than him being physically tired on occasion, and he was, his spirit was never down. I never saw him have a bad day. And if anybody had the right to have a bad day, it was Craig. And he was always upbeat. He was always excited about the game. He was excited about the matchup. We would talk in the car going to the arena, and he was pumped about the game. And that's infectious. And you just, because all of us, I'm telling you, Chris, at the end of the finals last year, I was ornery. I was not in a good mood. We had done 3 straight 7-game series, and our brother was tired. And Craig was not, and he was remarkable. And he was inspiring to all of us, and we loved him because he loved his life, he loved his wife, he loved his family, and he loved every second he was alive.
Well, I was sharing the story about every All-Star game, it seems, for the past 3 or 4 years, I'd see him, and he would just always have an encouraging word. So, for me, much respect to Craig. Rest easy. You know how I feel about you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Brother, good seeing you. Buck and Phil, we'll send it back to you.
And while we're on the topic of the TNT family with Craig Sager, let me also say that our thoughts and prayers are with Ernie Johnson and his son, Michael. Ernie was with his son last night. His son, Michael, has been ill for many years, and Ernie wasn't able to work TNT last night in a very emotional night because he was spending time with his own son, and hopefully that he'll get better. So our thoughts are with EJ as well, another great friend from Atlanta.
Yeah.
But, yeah, very emotional few days. David Aldridge's thoughts are right on point. Craig Sager was so good at interviewing. He just knew the moment. He knew the questions to ask. He got the good responses. Some of the Wizards players sent out some tweets. Jason Smith, you will truly be missed. One of the good guys. Best suits ever. And John Wall with a tweet of his own, RIP, may God bless you and your family. The NBA truly will miss you. Well, the Wizards have taken an 18-point lead here on some stingy defense. Now Lure's left alone, and he knocks down the three. So Keith Morris looks over and says, that's mine. But you and I both looked at John Wall a minute ago playing defense on Reggie Jackson, moving his feet and saying, now that's the kind of defense John is capable of.
And working hard.
Quarter baseline, that's short. Block out of bounds. One Morris to another.
Both of them come away smiling.
Is that hysterical? They are identical.
Same beard and everything.
And appropriately enough, the first block of the game by either team are LindseyCars.com defensive play of the game. Whistle and a foul called by Monty McCutcheon.
Now Washington cannot afford to take their foot off the pedal. They have to play this thing out and keep their momentum going in their favor the way it is right now.
Otto Porter called for his second personal foul. 83-68 Washington with 5:55 to play in the third. Whistle and a foul called on Gortat. And on March, that's his third. Second on the team. Take a look at our John Wall Lexus update, becoming the franchise leader in assists November 17th against the Rockets and in steals this past Wednesday against the Hornets. Cantavius Caldwell-Pope not there, and Gortat pulls down the rebound. That's his 11th rebound of the game. Wall Archon averages a double-double. Very close.
Yeah.
Wall lost it. Gortat thought about the open shot. Now Morris will take it and knock it down.
Well, even when they're getting deflections, it ends up in the hands of a Wizard, and that conveys another two for Markieff.
Wiz by 17. Lure behind the line. Beal this time. Careful. Beal with a jumper short. Ish Smith. That's what he does. Like a little water bug in there, he just skirts along the floor and flips it in.
Yeah. He was one of the more likable players that was here during that brief stint that he was with this team. A lot of the guys really took to him.
And it was tough to let him go. They had to make a decision on Ish Smith. Lure. Good rebound, Gortat. Wizards by 15. Here's Beal. Able to keep his balance. Wall for three. How do you like that?
Remains perfect on all four of his threes.
26 points for Wall, and he's also 8 of 10 from the free throw line. It has 7 assists. His line the other night was pretty spectacular. Cantavius Caldwell-Pope is short, but the rebound right to Drummond, and it's stolen by Wall. He's got Beal. He lost the handle, and now he'll wait. 3:18 to play. Gets another shot at it, and a foul will be called on Smith. Number 1 on Ish Smith. And there is a timeout on the floor. What a quarter for Washington. An 18-point lead with 3:16 to play in the third. A couple of days, including Christmas and Hanukkah, off. 3-point field goals this season at home. Washington shoots 37.5 on the road, just under 32. It's the 5th largest difference in the league.
And shooting 50%, 9 of 18 from 3-point range tonight. Continue to protect that ball well.
What a move by Beal, but he couldn't drop it in. Meantime, Wall, who set the record for career steals Wednesday, has his first 2 of this game in this quarter. The Wizards nearly got another. Cantavius Caldwell-Pope for the jumper that's short. Rebound pulled down by Morris. But Washington just everything going their way during this stretch. But you have to wonder, Phil, if and when Detroit makes that run.
Stop and think about it. The last time these teams played here, Washington had their largest amount of victory. What was it, 43, 42, 43 points?
Well, they won that game 124-81. Nene was big in that one. He had 20 off the bench. But they won it by 43. They shot a season-high 57%, and it was their largest margin of victory ever against the Pistons. In fact, it was their largest win over any opponent since a game in 2003-2004 when they pounded the Celtics by 45. And Morris gets 2 more.
Yeah, so they had a lot going for them then.
The Wizards won 3 of the 4 last year. The first game they won, which was in Detroit, 97-95. Their bench scored 51 points in that game, but they still had to defend a last-second 3-point shot by Marcus Morris to win it. Nene was big in that one as well. He led the team with 18 points on 9 of 10 shooting.
But that was a game that Beal and Wall combined for only 15 points, so they need every bit of that bench production that they got.
Shot clock winding down. Wall needs some help. Goes to Gortat. Out to Morris for the long jumper that's no good. The rebound to Lure. The lead is 16. Smith hesitates. Curls underneath. It's knocked away from Baines. Now Lure has it. And that's picked off. So Wall gets his 3rd steal of the quarter. Beal into the paint, lays it up and in.
Boy, even then, Beal did a good job of pushing that ball in front of him as Caldwell-Pope tried to reach around from the backside. That's what you have to do, push that ball away so they can't reach from the backside.
Isn't this something, Phil? One of the best defensive teams in the league, and the Wizards have put up 92 points.
Yeah.
And they've also done it shooting 53%.
Yeah, I mean, Detroit's defense number 4 in opponent's field goal percentage. So in both those categories, doing an excellent job. Well, like I said, don't let your guard down.
Beal continues to be productive. Wall making a move. Takes the jump shot that's off the glass and in. Like we said, when it's going right, it's going right.
Know if he intended to shoot that off the glass, but it still counts.
I didn't hear him call it, but like you said, it's good. Caldwell-Pope pulls up for 3, and that's a little short. Gortat rips down his 14th rebound of the game.
Boy, he has been a rebounding machine.
Shot clock is off. Here's Wall to try to finish the quarter in a spinning move, and he's fouled on the play with 2.5 seconds to go. Well, this has got to be fun for those guys right now, don't you think?
Well, yes, it does. But again, what's even more fun is to string a bunch of wins together and get yourself above 500.
Now, for the Wizards, this would be, and we're not counting it yet. We got a whole another quarter to play. But this would be their 4th win in the last 5 games, so they're in the right direction. As Thornton and Burke come back in, replacing Beal and Morris. Bradley with 21. Wall with 28 points and 8 assists. He's 8 of 11 from the line, 8 of 14 from the field, including 4 of 4 from the free throw line. John Wall this quarter has 9 points and 3 assists. And the Wizards had a foul to give. Thornton did it with 1.2 seconds now on the clock. And that is the end of a very productive third quarter for the Washington Wizards. Keith Morris, with his twin brother breathing down his neck, 11 points on 5 of 9 shooting, and the Wizards another productive period, a 30-point quarter for Washington. We've played 3, and the Wizards have scored 95 against one of the best defensive teams in the league. After 3 in D.C., it's the Wiz 95 and the Pistons 77. Game, it is Miller Lite's Miller time moment. Washington doing everything right, swinging the ball. Bradley Beal on target, 21 points for Bradley Beal. Gortat keeping it alive, marching with a double-double, 10 points and 14 rebounds for the machine. And Bradley Beal getting some well-deserved rest. Revisiting our trivia question tonight. Beal now the youngest player in team history with 500 3-point field goals made, which he accomplished tonight. Who's the second youngest? You said who?
I'll say John Wall.
Okay, I'll say Chris Whitney.
Okay.
Gilbert.
What'd you say last time? Always go with your first hunch?
Always your first inclination. Or you could just answer Gilbert for any question, and you might get 6 or 7 right.
Yeah, especially if it has to do with offense.
Yeah. Meantime, the Wizards without a turnover in the last 31 minutes.
Amazing. And you're talking about that combined with shooting at about a 54% clip, making over 42% of their threes.
In for Baines, and he is fouled by Thornton. This is the 275th game played between these two franchises, one that dates all the way back to 1961 when this squad was called the Chicago Packers. That was the original location and nickname of the Wizards franchise. And that's when they joined the NBA. And back in those days, there were only 9 teams in the league. And the Pistons and Packers played 10 times. Pistons won 7 of them that first year. Detroit originally the Fort Wayne Zollner Pistons. Zollner named for Fred Zollner, the owner of the team. Of course, they've met twice in the playoffs, both in the first round of the Eastern Conference in 1987 and in 1988. See the frustration and the disgust on Stan Van Gundy's face.
I want to read that.
Well, you know what these fans are excited about here in the fourth quarter. So much for that. Pistons won both of those playoff series, sweeping the Bullets 3-0 in '87 and taking the '88 series 3-2. Trey Burke adds to Washington's totals, a 2-point field goal for Burke. Largest lead for Washington. Tipped up, no good, and the rebound to Porter. So Drummond sitting out right now, and Wizards trying to take advantage. Thornton pulls up for 3. Got it! Everybody's joining in on the party here tonight. Washington by 22. Stanley Johnson. Tobias Harris got fouled by Porter. And on Otto Porter, that'll be his 3rd. Last season, the Pistons went 44-38. They made the playoffs as the 8th seed in the East after winning just 32 games the year before. Of course, the acquisition of Harris in mid-February was big. It was their first playoff appearance since 2008-2009, but they bowed out in the first round, losing to Cleveland 4 straight, which was a little surprising, at least to the Pistons, as the steal at the other end and a foul called. It was a little surprising because they beat the Cavaliers 3 out of 4 times during the regular season last year.
Didn't remember that.
Johnson called for the foul. Here's the steal by Washington.
Well, not a lot of turnovers in this game, period. Only the 8th turnover by the Pistons, but Washington able to convert and make some things happen.
Hey fans, the Wizards Friday night concert series debuts at Verizon Center on December 30th with a performance by Tank and a special appearance by Johnny Gill of New Edition. Buy tickets at WashingtonWizards.com or call 202-661-5050. Lure with a nice move. 2 minutes gone by here in the 4th. Steve Buckhantz, Phil Chenier, Chris Miller, our statistician Marty Aronoff with us, and stage manager Helen McKinney. Thornton behind his back for a tough shot. How about that?
Like you said, everything's going right. I mean, behind the back, stumbled a little bit, regained his balance, and knocked down the jumper.
Washington by 24. Well, this is one of these games, Phil, where you look at the situation and you think, you know, why can't you do that every night? Of course, you got 82 games, not going to happen every night, not for any team, but still, you like the effort, the accuracy, the precision, not turning the ball over, playing good defense,
shooting
all those
the ball
things.
well, getting good balance.
Just like that.
Yeah, I mean, they make it look so easy. When the game is played right and well, it's a thing of beauty.
Really is. How about that move by Reggie Jackson? Mr. October scores here in December. Another guy, Phil, that, you know, we don't talk that much about, but Marcin Gortat has had some really good games. He's just a solid guy that night in and night out gives you a double-double for the most part.
Well, I mean, with the injury issue they have and the lack of production that you're having from the bigs, I mean, it's imperative that he be productive. And, I mean, he's in the top 5 in rebounding, also top 5 in shooting percentage. And right now, his 14th double-double.
10 points, 14 boards for the Polish machine to go along with 3 assists. And he gets one of them right here on a nice look to Kelly Oubre Jr. in the lane as the Wizards have taken the upper hand and control of this one, leading the Pistons 108-84. So he's getting funky over here.
Yes, he is.
He's just super excited about the Toyota League leaders. Maybe not, but he's excited. The month of December has been a good one for Wall. He's 5th in the NBA in points, 1st in steals, 3rd in assists, and 1st in points in the paint, which is pretty incredible.
Yeah, means he's spending more time driving and getting inside. Whereas tonight, you look at his numbers, getting to the line 12 times. That's also indicative of a guy that's not just settling.
Bad pass, that's picked off and poked for 2. Wizards were up by 11 at halftime. They broke it open in the 3rd.
And that's only the 2nd team turnover. First occurred midway in the 1st quarter.
Thornton takes a long shot, rims it out. Drummond back in for Detroit. Here's Stanley Johnson. Kelly Oubre checks him. Nicholson also in for the Wiz with Porter and Burke. Otto Porter with his 7th rebound. Trey Burke gets a little separation but can't get it to go. Thornton down there battling for it. Almost came up with it. 6:50 to play in regulation. Wiz by 22. Tobias Harris.
Good box out by Nicholson. Kept Drummond away.
Kelly drives, puts it up, no call. Rebound Drummond. Harris missed it. Drummond chasing after it. Reset for Detroit. Knocked away by Oubre. Oubre gets the steal with Caldwell Pope, who blocks his shot but fouls him. Wizards have 4 of their 5 starters in double figures, and Porter has 9.
Well, there, the quick hands of Kelly Oubre leads to this transition attempt. Caldwell Pope picks up the foul, and I'm telling you, Buck, it's getting to the point where every game we see at least one of those from him.
Yep, from Kelly Oubre. He's got those arms, the good knack for anticipation on defense, and he comes up with one of those steals, it seems like, every game. Fans, Jim Coons Automotive scores for taps in support of military families. They've been donating $50 for every Wizards three-point shot made this season. Coons.com, over 2 million cars sold and counting.
Boy, wouldn't it be a good thought if those two can end out the game right there where they are, not have to come back in?
Well, they're going to need everything they got Sunday afternoon against Blake Griffin and CP3 and the Clippers team. They'll be in here. Johnson drives, he's fouled, and he scores.
Wizards foul, number 12, Kelly Oubre Jr.
Kelly Oubre Jr. picks up the foul. Washington in control with just under 6 minutes to play. Well, Pope has been really the only leader of this Detroit team. He's got 24 points. Jackson has 14, and Drummond has 13 points and 12 rebounds.
And Buck, if you're wondering, the franchise record for fewest turnovers in a game is 3. Right now, Washington with just 2. And this season, the fewest turnovers in a game in the league is 5. It's been done 6 times. So
Oubre wrestles it away from Baines.
A little bit of contact there.
And that's got to count as a steal, I would think. And that's a turnover, and there you go. Thank you, Phil.
I was just reporting what Marty gave to me. Marty should have given me that information.
You didn't have to read it. Stanley Johnson. Nice move by Johnson, and he scores. Second year from Arizona, second year with this team, was the 8th pick back in 2015 after 1 year in college. Thornton will take the shot, little short. Rebound to Johnson. Coming up on 5 minutes to play, Wizards by 20.
Okay, now you don't want to allow them to score quickly and easily. Force them to consume some time, force them to take some tough shots.
Darren Hillard in the game. Oubre for Nicholson, and another turnover. There's Beno Udrih for Lure. Nice play, and Scott Brooks is going to take a timeout. He can't be happy about what the second unit is doing right now, but they still have a rather large lead, and the clock will become a factor here soon for Detroit. 4:39 to play in regulation. Back into the game. In fact, all of his starters, save for Markieff Morris, He's got Wall and Gortat and Beal and Otto Porter back in with Kelly Oubre Jr. for the final 4.5 minutes here in Washington. Gortat swings it to Porter. Otto for Wall. Wall drives for Marchand inside on a great pass and 2 points.
And they needed that. They needed to kind of break this string by Detroit. They've come down, scored quickly, and scored easily.
9th assist for John Wall. Beno Udrih. Stanley Johnson, and he hits. Too easy.
Stanley Johnson.
Averaged 8 points in 73 games as a rookie last year, 4 rebounds. Beal on a little step back.
Again, just sometimes when things are going well, every decision you make is right and so precise, and that made Bradley made that look so easy.
23 for Beal, 29 for Wall. Johnson again misses. Baines puts it in, misses, gets a follow. So 2 offensive rebounds, and that was Lure who got the follow. 15 points for John Lure. Beal spins the other way. Now drives. Reverse layup. Good. What a shot by Beal.
Boy, he had to put a little extra spin on it. He was coming down. Just an excellent touch by Brad.
Johnson cut off by Oubre. Still hits. Stanley Johnson last year had 26 games in double figures, 20 or more points 2 times, and 3 double-doubles. In his rookie season last year, now in his 2nd year from Arizona. Three seconds to shoot. Wall's going to have to do something. He steps back and didn't get it off in time. 24-second violation as Washington commits its 4th turnover. Look at our Honda drive of the game. You just saw it. Bradley Beal with a remarkable reverse layup.
Yeah, he floated to the other side and had to put a little extra spin on it. Drive the game.
Hillard,
hard now.
Excuse me, Phil. Looking for someone to pass it to. He gets it. And they score 3 with Beno Udrih. In his 13th year from Slovenia. We haven't seen the big man in this game. The biggest man in the NBA, Boban Marjanovic, who is 7'3". Just a massive human being. Porter for 3. Got it. That was big. That was big. Otto with the double figures in scoring, all 5 of Washington's starters, and also Thornton with 11 off the bench. And Kelly Oubre Jr. takes it away from Porter. Wizards have hit 11 of 24 threes tonight. That's 46%. Wall whips the pass to Porter. Otto got another one. And a timeout on the floor. Good crowd tonight, 15,573. They have been entertained by one of Washington's best all-around games of this young season. And now the starters can come out and get a nice round of applause from the fans as we take a look at our Jeep Road ahead. Coming up Sunday afternoon, the LA Clippers are here. Then 3 on the road at Indianapolis, at Chicago, and at Milwaukee, and then home to play the Bucks the day after Christmas.
Boy, that Clipper game will be important because you certainly want to end this stance the right way and get yourself off on those 3-game road trips. Plus, the Clippers have been a team that have just given this organization a problem over the last, what, 5-6 years?
Yep. 1 minute to play in a good all-around game for Washington here tonight. The turnovers didn't come till late, till after Phil mentioned them. And then
thanks a lot.
And well, as much grief as I get for jinxing free throw shooters, I thought I'd throw that one out. Good hustle by Trey Burke, and he knocks it out of bounds. Well, still an NBA season low 4.
I don't think so. That was just a turnover. As soon as you guys started writing the numbers down, they committed a turnover.
So you need to talk to Marty Aronoff about that. I mean,
I told you, he's the one that gave you that information.
He's giving you misinformation over here. He's still shorted you 13 points.
Marty, can you get from underneath that bus that we just put you under?
Whoa. Managed to establish himself back into the front court. That was a good play. Inside, Lure has nowhere to go. Shovels it to Hillard, and he hits. Darren Hillard, his second year from Villanova. Washington, all 5 starters in double figures. The 8th time this season that's happened, and that's the tops in the NBA.
Good win.
Good win indeed as the fans come to their feet. 2-108 as they improve to 11-14 overall, 9-6 here at home. And fans, remember, since the Wizards won and scored 122 points, you get 50% off any online order tomorrow at papajohns.com at participating locations. Make sure to use promo code WIZ50. 29 from Wall, 25 from Beal, and Gortat had a double-double as we head back to the studio for Wizards Extra with Rob Carlin and Tony Massenberg. The Wiz shoot 58% from the field, and they win it tonight, 122-108. Their 4th win in the last 5 games.